The farm attached to Bourke High School is a project funded by the Disadvantaged Country Area Program, or D.C.A.P as it's come to be called, and is being developed to a much higher stage than the average school's agriculture plot because it's intended to be used as an educational resource by all of the schools in the D.C.A.P area. Places like Brewarrina, Nyngan and Cobar, for instance, and by children in all grades from kinder to year 12. Much of the farm's success lies in the fact that it's always attracted a great deal of community support. While the benefits to other high schools in the D.C.A.P area without farms of their own are obvious, there are many benefits for primary schools as well. They use the farm in a variety of ways to motivate children and as a resource to strengthen a wide range of curriculum areas. Accommodation for children from outlying schools is not a problem, as excellent hostel facilities are available on the site. The same facilities, in fact, that are available to permanent student residents of the hostel. The teachers most involved with the farm are Science Master Austin Corcoran and Agricultural Science Teacher Sylvia Willinga.
We have both black sheep and the Angora goats in the large animal line. We're aiming to get poultry going, intensive, in the shed. And we have bees, a grape orchard and the citrus orchard as well, and some vegetable growing and some irrigation over the levee bank.
The irrigation system we use is fed from the Darling River, a distance about 3 kilometres away, through a pipeline on loan to us from Tancred's, the local meatworks at Bourke. We've decided actually to start irrigating ourselves to give the children first-hand experience while they are able to go out onto properties and see irrigation in action. Because of time factors and because they aren't experts, they're not able to actually get involved and their feet wet and their hands dirty. Whereas with our own irrigation setup, they are able to do that. We can deliberately make mistakes, and of course mistakes are also made unplanned ones, and children will learn a lot about irrigation, practical aspects as well as the theoretical aspects, through this. We have a 2-acre wheat trial in that was put in by the Department of Agriculture, and Department of Agriculture people come up to the farm regularly to check and to talk to the children, explain the various stages of wheat development. And Doug Campbell is with the Department of Agriculture in Bourke, and we're relying heavily on people like Doug and farmers in the area to help us not make too many real mistakes, and generally to provide that extra expertise which we'll need until we've gained it through our own practical experience.
Several classes within the school are learning about wheat and following the progress of this trial. These students are in Year 11 and are following this trial in detail.
We're also now ready to put in a sorghum crop, which will be not only for study by the children but also provide income for the farm. Now, this work is done sometimes by the children when it fits in with their class programs, and also by the farmhand who's full-time on this project.
Numerous schools actually visit the farm, primary schools and infant schools, and also the language centre within Bourke itself. Some of them come for stimulation so that they can go back to their schools and write and speak about what they've seen. We have a poultry shed, and we intend to house 400 white leghorn layers here.
How many times do you have to feed the chooks?
We only feed them once a day. We fill this trough up with feed, and then each day we come along once and just top it up. It's only been very recently actually that students within this area have been able to do agriculture. Our farm has been going now for 4 years. The other schools at the moment are confined to small vegetable plots.
Right, Johnny and Kenny over here, please.
We have Angora goats and both the poultry on the farm, both with the view of making money in future years, since D.C.A.P funding will of course not last forever, and we hope then to be able to make enough income from the poultry, the Angora goats and the irrigation cropping over the levee bank to continue running this farm. We are actually a stud, and that means that both our goats, the Sanans and the Angoras, have to all be tattooed and earmarked and recorded in a herd book.
It's really hard, quick, and that will stay there forever, whereas this tag here might fall out. The tags are just so that we can see very, very easily and quickly what number this goat is.
Our school students and some of the visiting high schools have done some shearing on both the sheep and the goats, and also learned a bit about wool classing. We use two methods of shearing. We use the shearing machine, the motorised form. We also resort to the old-fashioned method of hand clipping from time to time. Since only one student at a time can actually use the shearing machine, we often get some of the other students to use the clippers. Last year we actually got one of the farmers to come in and demonstrate shearing for us. Students also learn that agriculture's not all just sitting up in an air-conditioned tractor. There are lots of problems. For instance, the shearing machine quite often breaks down on us, and that means we have to get in and fix it before we can get on with the job. Or things like weeding, they can be hard work at times. Or cleaning up a fly-blown and maggoty sheep. It's not quite pleasant work, but the students have to learn that this is all part and parcel of agriculture, and it's something that has to be done.
And here you can see we've actually got some stained wool. Now, it's not wet anymore, but at some stage or other this sheep's been fly-blown.
In some fertiliser, and it's certainly been lacking in what we call blood and bone, which helps it develop.
The farm is used in many different ways, and one group in particular that gets a lot of enjoyment from the farm are the SR and GA groups in the children. These are what you would normally class as slow learners. These children down on the farm find themselves in a situation which is enjoyable, something they can relate to, and they get a great deal from this, a great deal of practical skills as well. They have, by and large, done the task of pruning the grapes and working around the orchard.
We also have bees on the school farm. The children actually get shown what the honeycomb looks like, how the bees build the honeycomb, and also what the brood cells look
on the
like.
edge of the hive. This thing's a bee brush. This is what its purpose is.
This box here is the Stevenson screen.
Now also, as part of the school farm, there is a complete weather station. This is fully equipped with the sorts of equipment you would normally find in any weather station. This is used by classes from primary through to the high school, not just by agriculture classes, and is in particular used by geography classes.
We intended to use the school farm to complement what was already in the area. So as well as doing things on the school farm and seeing what we have to offer there, our students and also visiting students are able to go out and look at some of the surrounding farms. Now, most of these are within 15 kilometres of Bourke, so they're within fairly reasonable travelling distances. One of the places we particularly visit is the dairy. It's quite a large dairy, and the children can see what goes on in a commercial dairy here and can actually get in and have a go themselves.
Our first funds were received in 1978, the end of 1978. Prior to this funding, there was just a very small school farm of about the size of an average backyard. We now have an area of some 50 acres, which has been fenced. There inside the levee bank, an area of 4 hectares or 10 acres is under permanent spray irrigation, and outside the levee bank there's an area of 40 acres, of which at this stage 10 acres have been developed for flood irrigation, and in the near future another 20 acres will be developed.